Nancy Cordes is on Capitol Hill. Nancy, Mr. Trump tweeted just a short time ago that he's calling for a major investigation into voter fraud. I suppose he couldn't have made those accusations without investigating it, right? He won. So what would be the reasoning behind this? Why does he keep bringing this up, keep wanting to re-debate this?
Well, I'll tell you what a lot of Democrats believe is that he can't let it go because he can't let the fact that he lost the popular vote go. And so he has latched onto this idea that somehow he would have won the popular vote if only all of these millions of illegal votes hadn't been cast. One thing I can tell you for sure is that if there was any evidence that 3 to 5 million people had voted illegally, all of them somehow for the Democrats, Republicans would have launched full-scale investigations here on Capitol Hill long ago, because this is something that Democrats and Republicans already debate. Republicans arguing that voter fraud is more widespread than Democrats believe, and Democrats arguing that Republicans are simply using that claim as an excuse to suppress the vote, particularly of minorities. So believe me, if Republicans saw any sign that what the president was saying were true, they would already be creating committees to look into this.
Nancy, the Trump administration has not shared any evidence of voter fraud. We know that the president on the campaign trail mentioned an article from the Washington Post, which in fact was not from the Washington Post. But I wonder if this is also making Republicans nervous, because the president, although on one hand you see images of him signing executive orders and executive actions and memorandums related to the people's work, he keeps going back to this, which might make it difficult for them to focus on the things that they want to get done in Congress.
It does make them nervous for a couple of reasons, Vlad. First of all, this is the second time in a week that he has espoused notions that have been completely discredited. First about crowd size, then about the size of his popular vote loss. And so their fear is, what's next? What about when it goes into the realm of policy? Not necessarily when they're fighting against Democrats, but when they're trying to work on something with the president and he is operating on a set of facts that is different from his own party. So that's what they're worried about. Where does this lead? They also worry about the impression it creates here in America and around the world, that the new president simply isn't playing with the same set of information as the rest of the federal government.
So let's talk about what would have been sort of the big news of the day. What is the latest on the cabinet confirmations?
Well, we're now going to have a hiatus for a few days because Senate Democrats and Republicans have all left Capitol Hill. They're going to their respective retreats over the next couple of days to sort of strategize. Republicans will be hearing from the president himself in Philadelphia tomorrow. So we won't see any more confirmation votes this week. But you've got a number of people teed up, and we'll probably see a series of confirmation votes next week, most likely for the Energy Secretary nominee Rick Perry, for the Interior Secretary nominee Ryan Zinke, and several more. Democrats have asked for an extra week here and there to study some of the responses that they got from these nominees, but in many cases they aren't looking to stall the nominations long term. There are a couple of people who they're very troubled about, but their concerns don't seem to have caught on yet with Republicans, and so the writing is sort of on the wall for Democrats that they're not going to be able to convince Republicans to vote against any of these nominees.
All right, Nancy Cordes for us on Capitol Hill. Nancy, thanks.
You're welcome.